used to be my own boss, but I hit my mid-30s and I had that pit in my stomach every day, hating what I was doing, but not knowing what else I could do. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I was looking at a lot of different things. I looked at getting a teaching degree, but that would have been 5 years of schooling part-time to start at the bottom level at 40. Electronic and medical building, crafts in my basement, don't worry, I won't give you the whole list, we'd be here all day. I ended up starting a bookkeeping business, and when I was introduced to Arbonne by my sister, who was a guest at Linda Parker's car presentation. My sister was a guest, and she called me all excited about Arbonne, and I was like, it's stupid, it's a pyramid, no thank you, don't bug me. I don't go to home parties, I don't use skincare, I buy soap at Walmart. It was a Walmart brand, it had moisture cream in it supposedly, but I had dry place on it. But I was a mean, hard, nasty no, and that is one of the lessons that you need to understand, is that person that tells you no today might become your next national vice president. And I went from consultant, after 4 months of saying no, I went from consultant to national vice president in 20 months from my start date. So don't let the no's bother you, because they might come back to you. But how I transitioned into saying yes was, to make a long story short, I tried the products after saying no, and then I thought, well, my brother-in-law lost his job again, and the kids are hungry, so I better buy something. So I bought some makeup from her, and she didn't give me a discount. She didn't tell me anything about the discount. Now, and this is part of my training later about the eye story, but I say that at every presentation, and I've always sponsored a ton of people because I make a joke. I make a joke about how I thought it was expensive. I made a joke about how I thought it was a pyramid. I make a joke about how my sister made me pay retail. And by the way, nobody has to pay retail. You can get your products with a discount even if you don't want to build a business. So that's part of my training later, but I'm throwing it in now because that's the way I roll. My tangents seem to work well. So she didn't give me a discount. She was mad at me for being mean, and rightfully so, because I was her very mean, hard, nasty no. And but I liked the products, didn't pay attention to what was different about them. And then the next birthday party a couple months later, she's like, I wish you'd listen to me. I want to go to her Mercedes, this company's ground floor. She said a lot of things that we all know, so I won't go into all that because you guys know all the great things that we say. And I was trying to ignore her, but things were going into my brain, and I couldn't stop thinking about Arbonne. And I finally thought, okay, well, I don't need the anti-aging stuff. You're the older sister. Give me the basic line. Bought the basic line. First time I used it, it's all different. So did my husband. And then I called her and I said, is this something you think I can do? And she's like, I have been trying to tell you could do this. Now, at that time, I had a cleaning business and a bookkeeping business. And my husband was away on a tugboat. He was a captain on a tugboat. So he was away more than he was home. And we weren't poor, but we built a house in LBI. We didn't have a lot of extra. And we were on a hamster wheel bike. So I looked at this and I thought, I'm not sure I'm going to do this, but I'm intrigued enough that you can come do this presentation. So she came to my house and did the presentation. I almost canceled out of fear, and she gave me the silent treatment. So I said, all right, I'm not sure I'm doing this, but you can come do whatever you're going to do. She did the presentation and she read from notes, and my friends were saying, my mom would love this, my sister would love this, I'll have a get together. And so she linked my friends to me, and that's how my business started. My neighbor, who's like I used to be, who didn't come to that event, called me during the week and said, how was it? I said, it's totally different than what I thought it was. You gotta come see this stuff, as I called it, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I had copied my sister's notes, and I didn't even talk to Renee about the business. She came over the following Sunday by herself at 11 o'clock, and I put the products on the coffee table. I said, can I practice my presentation? She said, sure. And I went through the presentation, skipped the part about the business, because I was a little uncoachable at the time. And yeah. And the way my sister got my attention about that, I'll backtrack. I didn't talk about the business people in the beginning, and one day my sister, who's my sponsor, said to me, she said, I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And she's like, Donna, I'm tired of this. And we had a couple of hang-ups on each other. You can do that with your sister. We were not very nice to each other. And but one day I was telling her what I was and wasn't going to do in my presentations and appointments, and she said, Donna, I don't really care what you do. Linda and Cecilia are driving the car, and you're not. I'm not saying if that's helping your consultants, but it got my attention, and I did start following the system a little bit more. But at the time, so the reason I share the story about Renee coming over by herself the following week is that what we teach with presentations and parties, get-togethers, and one-on-ones, I was accidentally doing in my first 2 weeks of the business. And then I got invited. The reason why events like I keep saying car presentation, nation celebration, whatever kind of party we're having, just go, because these are our fun business meetings. I got invited to Discover Arbonne in Pennsylvania, and I said to my sister, this was 2 weeks after I had that first presentation, and these two women, Linda Park and Cecilia Stoll, were going to be doing Discover Arbonne. And there were about 20 people in the room, maybe 25 people, November of 2003 this was. And I heard them tell their stories, and I remember thinking, if that girl Linda can build a business with her friend Cecilia and everyone helping her, I can do that too. Because when Cecilia Stoll said, where do you see yourself in 5 years if you keep doing what you're doing? And I remember thinking, I've been cleaning houses for 18 years and not much in my life has changed. So if I don't try this, and I was so related to Cecilia because she talked about cleaning the dorms in college. And I remember thinking, you know, if they can do this, I can do this. Like, I've always looked at everything in life that way, and that Discover Arbonne was pivotal because that was what hit me. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm like, well, pretty much the same place I am today if I don't do something. And, you know, they asked what would happen if the main income earner, something happened to the main income earner in your household. And that scared me because we just lived through 9/11, and I found out after 9/11, because my husband was a tugboat captain in New York Harbor, I found out that I had more life insurance than Wade did, and Wade was the one with 6-figure income. Little did I know that day when I went up quivering and talked to Cecilia after that Discover Arbonne, and I said, I saw my sister do a presentation 2 weeks ago, I'm going to see her do one tomorrow, and Wednesday I'm going to do one by myself. And I said, I saw 2 presentations that my sister did for me because she didn't live near me and she had little kids. And I remember Cecilia looking me in the eyes and smiling and saying, that's great, Donna, you'll do First Step District. And I remember going, I didn't say anything there, but I'm thinking, I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. And I am not a numbers person, I'm a belief, attitude, commitment person, like I'm not a numbers and nuts and bolts person. So in November and December of 2003, I became a district manager. And then at NTC, National Training Conference in Texas in 2004 with 5,000 people, it was the day the product launch was coming that night. I ran into Linda Parker, and I had one business partner with me that day. This girl I was trying to give my cleaning business to, and she tried the products and got rid of her eczema somehow. I know we don't cure anything, but somehow her eczema went away when she tried the basic cleansing gel and lotion. And so I took Patty with me to NTC. Well, she took herself, and we just slept together. Sort of, not really, but my sister booted us out of the room, so I had to stay off-site and run a car. It's a whole long story we don't need to get into. But I remember seeing Linda at NTC, and she said, she's like, oh my gosh, Donna, I'm so excited. You're going to do First Step Area. I mean, I do not know numbers at all, and I don't know how I went to district, and I'm just not good at numbers. And Linda's like, oh my gosh, you're going to do First Step Area. And I was like, I am? She's like, yeah, you're at 8,000 and the new products are coming tonight and you'll definitely do First Step Area. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I love that about you. She's like, I just tell you, oh, okay. And so I did First Step Area that April and May in the area. By the end of that year, in December, in 2004 and 2005, we went into Region Qual December, where everybody says, oh, it's December, nobody can do anything. We did Region Qual. And then we finished Region in January. When people say it's winter, nobody's doing anything. We finished Region. And then 5 months later, we became New Jersey's first nation. So, yeah.